Hello everyone, this is Rangadad. Not financial advice, just the way I'm looking at the market. Well, it looks like we might be pushing for a breakout on BTC here today, which would be good because this range, it's only been a couple of days, but God, it's been frustrating. Yesterday we went over how it looks like they're building a position to run in one direction, and very hard to short a dull market like this where you just got this slow grind up. Those two situations on Bitcoin, when you see that at any price point, generally that's going to result in more moves to the upside. So at this stage, it looks like the way they want to go. Still got 4 hours before the close of the daily candle, but it's been a pretty strong push on the shorter time frames as well. So yeah, good volume on this move up. Sorry, you'd expect, a few more legs on this yet. Probably into at least the 64.8 mark is where there is a lot of probably bears sitting there. But if we look on here, it's been a few big transactions of BTC into Binance lately. This could be a temporary little top here soon. Got a fairly good read on the funding, but I don't think so. I think we're going a bit higher. If you come up 65k, there's a fair chunk of orders, but at least into that 64,800, you got quite a good lot of orders in there. So if we look on liquidation map symbol, 64,500 is going to be probably a level where it might just pull back a little bit. I'll go to the pair, the Binance pair. This gives a bit more detail. Yeah, so 64, 500, 600, somewhere around that. But realistically, I think up into even tap into 65 or just above. Probably looking at 65 100, 65 150 would be a good point for people to start taking some profit and have a bit of a pullback. There is still a fair chunk of liquidity down here. If we go, unfortunately, it's been so flat for so long, we need to move out a bit. Obviously, I'm not really concerned about these at the moment. We may get a pullback around the start of October that might go a bit deeper than what people expect, but at this stage, I think it's better to be bullish than bearish, at least when you're trading shorter term timeframes. We'll see how it reacts around that 68k mark, which 68k is going to be fairly critical, I think, because it comes into looks like it's starting to slow down a little bit here, but still good reach. So the reason I said the 64,800-ish is because we got that level there. And if we break that, then you're into at least the 65. Now, it wouldn't surprise me at all if we hit if we come up, break through that, and have a little bit of a fake out and come back into this area. Ooh, that's weird. Mainly because we're reasonably extended on the shorter time frames. So breakout, potentially back into this level here, so around the 64K mark. May go a little bit deeper, but a very good sign would be in the next day or so if we won. Basically, we just break out above that 64K level into the 65 100-ish, and then pull back into about the 63 900, 64K mark, and then move to the upside again. So I'd be very much on the lookout for that. If we reject off this level again, that would be super frustrating. And look, Bitcoin has been staying in ranges longer than what you would normally expect lately, but I think in this region we were seeing a lot of support at the lows here. Like, I was super surprised. Like, I was watching these live a lot of the time. Like, this happened through my workday, and seeing the speed at which these things came down and then got bought up, and the volume that got bought up in these candles, you could tell there was quite a bit of support there. Even like these sort of candles here, these volumes here at the lows without actually breaking through, they're significant. And yeah, we have had that break to the upside. Interesting pullback on that candle there on the 5-minute. I don't really think it's reached the top here. We could just get a bit of a retrace. Pretty big volume though too. Could be seeing a pullback in real time. Again, if we stay above, this is a Bollinger Band. I think it's 20 length, 1 standard deviation. Typically, it's a pretty good trend indicator that if you're still above the upper band of this, then you're still biased to the upside. Closures within tend to lead to sort of a bit sideways and down after you've had a run, just like this sort of thing. That's why I have the Bollinger Bands on the charts. Yeah, it looks like it's petered out a little bit at the moment. Let's go to the 15-minute. Could just be trying to recover this vector. There was a lot of volume in that. You can see here they threw a lot of volume at it at that point there. I think it looks like they're actually trying to keep it within this little range here, which is basically the daily range, I think. But yeah, it broke out on pretty good volume there, so looking for continuation of that at some stage. I mean, juicy vector candle there on the 15-minute. So it has recovered about halfway up, which you kind of want to see, but yeah, hard to pick the top being at this point right now with the MACD going the way it is. Stochastic momentum's up across the board, across the time frames. Yeah, I'd sort of it's a weird one. Must have been playing with something there. Blendle Pro is still bullish. Oh yeah, that's a 1 minute. Why the hell am I looking at 1 minute? Yeah, they're all broken at the moment. Yeah, look, everything's sort of suggesting upside. Now, if we come back in, what are the key levels here? We're probably looking at about 66K, maybe a shade over that, 66,500. Potentially even 67, but at least into that I would expect it to at least hit 66K if this breakout is a real one. We may get, that's where we may get the pullback. It would make a lot of sense just given the trend, not the, what's the words? Jesus, struggling. Just given that we've been in this channel for so long, typically people will trade off that, look for a short. Again, you don't normally just go straight and break out of these things. So just be careful around that level, but something into the value area high, which is around that 67, 68K mark, that's going to be a critical level. That's where I think we may actually get to and then pull back. Just because this has been coiling for a little bit, I think there's more in it than just a 66K. So something into or past, like into the 68 range, would be a good move. And I think if we get into 60K, like 68 and a half, so you come in, get to about 68 and a half, people are going to start getting very bullish on it. They'll be looking at the breakout of the channel. If we see a pullback and a retest of this and then it moves, then I'd be keen for new all-time highs. Can we pull back deeper than that? Yes. We could even pull back into here, the value area low around that 60,500 roughly, before we get the full proper breakout, which would kind of play with a bit of sideways chop and generally sideways and up into the election. The reason I say we could pull back that far is, I think that's a fib retracement here. So if we went into, let's say, yeah, somewhere around that 68 and a half mark, your fib level, your 0.5 fib level is going to be at 60,500, that value area low. And look, that's a decent run up. For it to then pull back. And it would be, there's sort of two scenarios you need to be mindful of here. This kind of thing's been good for us in the past in terms of picking levels. If you have one leg up there from roughly the 53K mark up to the pullback at the 60,500, you got another leg up here, let's call it between 58,200 and 63,500. And then basically the only issue there is the middle leg isn't as long as the first leg. Typically you would prefer to see that. But if we just went even on that bit there, you're getting into your 67,800. So 3 legs up is typically all you would be looking at before a decent pullback. That's going to freak people out too. I kind of like this because it would be the market fucking with people. And typically if you can figure out the ways that the market's going to fuck with people, that's probably what's going to happen. So yeah, pull up into here, pull back. Everyone's going to be looking at this going, oh, it's rejected again. We're coming back down to 51,000 or 42,000. This is it. The market's shit. Stocks are probably going to pull back at the same time. It's the end of the world. The economy's fucked. Stock market's shit. It's all over. But then we get this pullback down into this level, which would be probably around the mid band of the Gaussian channel by then as well. And then we take off. That would be a pretty clean sort of move on Bitcoin. So it might not be till end of October that we sort of actually see the proper breakout, new all-time highs on Bitcoin. It may be sooner. Like it's a tough one to pick at the moment because there have been a lot of dark pool transactions at the highs, like big volume dark pool transactions on the likes of the NASDAQ and a few other things. Now, sometimes they are actually buys. It's rare that they buy at the high, but it can happen. And, this market's still sort of pushing those highs. I'm seeing no signs here that there's any take profit, or there should be any take profit on the NASDAQ at the moment. S&P 500, same deal. Everything's still to the upside, and with potentially a fair bit to run. I think one of the banks in the US was calling for 6,000 on SPY or S&P 500 before the end of the year, and that looks quite doable, really. I mean, look at this chart and tell me why it's not going to happen. It looks pretty close, to be honest, at this point. It's only a 5% move from here. What did we get in this run up here? Got nearly 10% run up there. Let's just do let's see if we have the same move again. Yeah, that's 6,000 every day. It could be that he's saying that so that he can sell into retail along the way. I don't know, but it seems plausible at this point. Again, we've been fairly bullish through all this. Underlying, there's no reason to be bearish yet, apart from just watching out for pullbacks and keeping one eye on the news, which I don't typically like to do, but just keeping an eye out to see if there's any major news events that suggest there's a black swan in the works. Geez, yeah, I mean, XLI is breaking out big time. If XLI is doing that, generally the market's pretty healthy, or at least the stock market thinks that everything's okay. XLY, XLP is following. I'm expecting more of a move. Bit of profit taking on regional banks here, which is interesting. So money's shifting around still. That's a pretty big drop over a couple of days for KRE. A little bit of a concern, but we're still so high here and there's still so much support below. I think it's just a pullback. If we start breaking to new lows and stuff in this, let's put a trend line on KRE. This is probably going to be a pretty good indicator actually for overall market health, or whether there's some sort of issue in the financial markets. So keep an eye on this. If we break below and sort of confirm below this trend line, then I'd be a little bit more concerned about the market overall. But at the moment, things are pretty good. Oh, that's an interesting one. So we've always said DJI gold, you've got to be careful of. It is an indicator that there's a pullback coming, or it tends to align with pullbacks when DJI breaks certain levels. So significant pivots previously. So this one here, it broke this pivot, which is also a reasonable volume area there. And that was basically the top of the S&P 500 before a decent pullback. We didn't really get too much going on here, but yeah, this is an interesting one. If we break below about that 15 level on this particular comparison, that's probably a signal for the pullback, I would say. So it could be coming in the next few days. This will probably bounce around a little bit, but yeah, be on the lookout for that. Skew has not gone anywhere. It's now flat. We have peaked on skew, and we peaked above previous levels too. So I'd expect that to pull back again as well. There, look, maybe the pullback, or maybe a pullback, shorter term, is on the cards. Keep that in mind. May not just rip to the upside, but these indicators aren't perfect and they're not great at timing, but one of the reasons why I sort of keep DJI Gold on there is timing wise, it can be useful. Like it tends to be pretty soon after that you see a pullback when you break key levels on this. The main reason is it's people looking for sort of long-term safety in gold versus this is a pretty good measure of the economy, DJI. Old economy, yes, but that's kind of why it works. Hang Seng, wow, it just keeps going, doesn't it? Yeah, it's kind of playing out. It looks like it's actually going to just push straight up to potentially the 800 EMA here, which would be a new high on it as well. You got to remember too, the Chinese market showed something from FX Evolution yesterday that the Chinese housing market has been in a downturn since like 2021 or something. The overall stock market, using the HSI as an indicator, has been pretty well moving down since 2018. Right, that's what, 6 years? 6 years. That's pretty significant. Even like it peaked in 2007, has never really gotten to that high again. It could be that the Chinese market needs to have a blow off top as well before we get a big global recession. Could be that this is China coming out and being the new powerhouse economy if the US parks it in the next couple of years. But regardless, this is a long time to be going down and a general downtrend, and it looks now like we're starting to actually find a base here. For those that bought at 14, 15K and are still holding, good job. That's impressive. Wow, even I think this is kind of their tech sector. I need to check that out. I put it on the charts a while ago because I saw someone use it as a potential indicator for a bottom in the markets. And it certainly looks like it's bottoming. That's a massive move up, though. Holy crap. You don't see that. Even on this market, that's a big move. UK 100 still flat, still within a range. Generally finding support though, so yeah, I don't know. UK is a hard one at the moment. A lot of political stuff going on over there. JP, I mean, it's strong-ish, but that's kind of, that is a lower high, so just be careful of that. Could just be a quick retest on the way up. TLT, decent pullback, but looks like it's finding some buyers again. High yield is still up, so again, the bonds market still thinks the market's okay as well. 2 years still dropping. Well, sorry, the yield curve is still dropping. So it's just a matter of time as to when the recession is. As we've said for a while, this uninversion is just, you don't get a recession before this thing uninverts, but it could be 3 to 12 to 18 months before we actually see the recession after this thing uninverts. So you'll get a lot of people saying, oh, the yield curve's broken, don't worry about it. That's when you kind of, when people are saying that, when people are screaming soft landing or no landing, and we're making new all-time highs on the markets, that's kind of when you've got to be really on the lookout for pullbacks and big issues in the markets. Now, yeah, the whole money printing thing is going to make this a really interesting period over the next couple of years, because realistically, I think we should be in more of a recession than we are. But this is a pretty good indicator, because whenever they're injecting liquidity into the market, this orange one is basically global liquidity from federal banks and things. Whenever that's coming and whenever they can use that to support markets, they will. And we could be getting this whole thing kicked down the road, and we'll be looking for that blow off top, basically. Copper has been a really good trade. I remember I was looking for ETFs that involved copper, and I couldn't find a decent one in Australia. Didn't end up getting in on that, unfortunately. But you know, this again, when copper's running, it suggests the economy's okay. Well, it suggests the stock market thinks the economy's okay, and the stock market's going to keep pushing it. Gold breaking out still. What are we looking at on gold here? Let's do our little projection here. That's your first leg. Second leg was longer. Third leg is typically the same length. Geez, we might not get much more on gold here before a pullback, but like I'm in gold from back in here somewhere, I think. Oh no, I think I got in this range. So yeah, I might take some profits if we hit sort of 27K, I think. Otherwise, it's a long-term hold for me. It's in my super account. Silver finally breaking out. This had a horrible couple of days while gold was still pushing up, but now you're probably going to see some move into silver and out of gold. But as you can see, silver's outperforming gold again. So generally, if you're in it for longer term plays, swing trades, silver I think is still going to be the play. And it pretty well did perfectly what we said it was going to do. I thought it'd go a little bit higher. Like I think the LARP lines look something like up into this level, then down into that level, and then away. Yeah, close enough's good enough when you're on these sort of time frames. Silver's going to get bigger percentage gains, I think, overall. Look at that. I mean, 4% versus 1% on gold. Oil, still high. Again, we sort of basically, I'm bullish on gold, on oil until we get to basically new all-time highs, at least 95 plus. But realistically, for a big recession / depression, oil needs to push these highs, I think. Typically, oil does big things into pretty much any of the recessions. I'll just go to the US oil. Man, that would have been good buying of oil when it spiked down there, where is it? 2008. So yeah, oil was running up pretty hard into that recession, breaking to new all-time highs. Realistically, the recession kind of started around then, and then oil just kept freaking going, didn't it? Yeah. That's kind of what you want to see on oil, which will be kind of insane. Like, I don't know that we'll get that much relative to where we're at now. Like, if you think, okay, this is January 07, if you're saying, okay, our recession is about a year away, if you're looking at from there to there is 178%. Let's go and look at what that might be from here. I don't think that's going to happen. Like, that's a... You're talking 186 on oil, which I kind of take that back. That might actually happen. Because I remember when we were over here, people were calling for $200 a barrel oil. Yeah, that's a possibility. So again, just be careful of the doomsdayers and the recession callers and stuff. The stock market will make fools out of them. It's just a matter of for how long the economy can actually stay structurally buoyant, I guess. The Dixie looks like it is going to break down here. Stochastic momentum still to the downside, and we've actually got volatility increasing. So Dixie, I am predicting it will come down. So unfortunately, I've converted some Aussie dollars into US dollars recently, but better than what it was a while ago. This is actually not that great for the Aussie economy because we export so much minerals, and our minerals is a big part of the economy. So just have a quick look at BHP is still, actually BHP is coming off a good low. Yeah, BHP is probably going to find a bottom here, which is strange. Yeah, strange to me because a rising Aussie dollar tends to not be great for these guys because they price their contracts in US dollars. But materials overall, it just depends. Like, you've got the price of iron ore. Let's just have a look. Spot. Okay, so the price of iron ore has actually jumped recently along with gold. So gold and iron ore are two of the big commodities in Australia. As long as they're going up quicker than the Aussie dollar is, then they're probably, the miners are going to be okay, which looks like it could be the case. So Again, just generally, markets are looking more bullish than not. Percentage of stocks above the 50-day moving average has come down a little bit, but I think that's just rotations. They're actually rotating out of the small caps, I think, at the moment. Certainly not as much upside on the Russell. Nvidia had a bit of a good day. Tesla struggling around that $250 mark. I mean, Tesla looks like it wants to break too, wants to break out. Volatility is still increasing, stochastic momentum still to the upside and in the bullish control zone. Until that turns, it should be hard not to be bullish on Tesla at the moment. Probably into the robo-taxi event. I'd say robo-taxi will be a sell the rumor. Sorry, sell the event. Buy the rumor, sell the event at the moment. Be careful of that if you're in Tesla. And yeah, crypto market cap is heading up. Let's come back into Bitcoin. Sol is having same sort of day as Bitcoin, but not really breaking to that high. It will if Bitcoin confirms this move. And basically, a confirmed move would be closure above. Realistically, you actually want two closures above the Gaussian channel to really confirm that. But yeah, generally, markets are still looking up for the next couple of days, I would say. Mostly green across the board. Litecoin is not following suit, but pretty good retest of the 50 EMA here. I think that's what Litecoin's trying to do. Although stochastic momentum's to the downside at the moment, but volatility's on the way down as well. So Litecoin just taking a pause at the moment. Yeah, Ethereum had a good day yesterday. That outshone Bitcoin, but today it is flat. Ethereum needs to break back into this channel, and it may do if Bitcoin pushes forward. It's still, volatility is still high or rising slightly, and stochastic momentum is still above the signal line, so, and in bullish control. So Ethereum may struggle unless Bitcoin just rips to new all-time highs. Ethereum's probably going to slowly break back into this channel and slowly chug up. It's not looking very popular at the moment, put it that way, Ethereum. It might struggle to get above the 3,000 mark for a while, particularly if Bitcoin's the one making all the moves. And things like Sol and stuff like that are going hard. Geez, WIF got big push. I was looking at buying that yesterday too. Oh well. Pepe. WIF and Pepe seem to be trading very similarly to Bitcoin at the moment. So if you're looking for some bigger percentage gains, they might be a good play. Don't use people leverage or anything on them, but just there's a little trick for you. I mean, you put 5x leverage on that, and it's doing more than what a 20x leverage on Bitcoin would do. But holy crap, they're volatile. You don't want to be looking at them on the shorter time frames if you can avoid it. So, yeah, that's about it for today. Bit of a long one, but fairly critical. We want to see closures of, oh man, closures above the daily here, which is 64,180, would be strong. That would also be above the Gaussian channel, which sits at 63,989. So anything above sort of, 64,180. Be looking for another day of upside, generally upside. We may get a bigger daily candle too. It's been a while since we've had a pretty decent daily candle. Typically, Bitcoin doesn't do these dojis for very long. So yeah, just keep that in mind. That's about it, I think. Yeah, I'll talk to you